Hey, what's up guys? Auto Fanatic. This is going to be a Shelby GT350 specific video. What are we doing today? Well, I'm going to be pulling off the passenger side door panel and replacing the factory Bang & Olufsen mid-range driver. Now, my car had a little bit of a buzz since I took delivery, but I haven't been using the car through the entire months of winter, and then we were locked down for a number of months as well. So now that I'm driving the car every day and I'm listening to my music loud, I hear a resonance frequency that's buzzing, and it's been driving me crazy. So I bought a replacement speaker from Ford. It's 35 bucks, and I'm going to show you how quick and simple it is. Now, this also will help you guys if anybody has a 2015 to 2020 Mustang, you want to do an aftermarket stereo, you want to change your speaker drivers, whatever. I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to pull the door panel off yourself and how to replace the speaker. Also show you a little bit about where you can put Dynamat as well. So let's get over to the workbench and I'll show you guys. So we're over on my workbench. So this is what we're going to use today. Just have a small little pick. We have a 7mm nut driver. This is magnetic, and I'm going to show you really quickly why this is awesome. Just like that, so you don't lose your hardware, and it's spring loaded. These things are great. Also, I have a 7mm and I have a 10mm. The 10mm is for the door pull and for the upper bolt area. I have my nylon wedge, which I use these things for auto detailing and trim removal all the time. And I also have this trim tool that I've had for years. This thing is awesome. Also for hardware, I'm going to show you guys something a little different. It's called the grip mat. This is a silicone tool and hardware fastener organization device. I'm actually going to do a video on this really soon for you guys as well. And this is the brand new replacement driver from Ford. So let me just explain to you a little bit about what's going on with the speaker driver. So here you have your outer suspension, which is the surround. You have your pole and voice coil in the center. Now, the way it works is you have your positive and negative. That's going to be the, you're going to energize the voice coil with the magnet. And I'll show you an illustration right now in the video. So what happens is the voice coil gets hot as it rides up and down the pole. There's 4.5 movement of this actual cone, depending on the frequency and of course the volume. The louder you play it, the hotter the voice coil tends to get. A lot of times it gets rubbed out, and it tends to make some crackling sounds depending on the frequency range. Now, what I think happened on my car, because I don't know if anybody really abused it at the dealership, I think it's a manufacturing defect, because sometimes when the speakers and the basket is assembled with the magnet, if the tolerances are a little bit off, then the cone is going to move along the pole and it's going to cause rubbing against the voice coil, and you're going to get a very, very weird resonance frequency, and that seems to be what I'm hearing when I listen to my music. It definitely sounds like a manufacturing defect. Now, some of you guys are going to say, oh, isn't it warranted? Go to Ford. I'm not going to go to the Ford dealer. $35 part. I'd rather do it myself. I'd rather not deal with the hassle and the risk of having my car damaged. I know how to do this stuff, and I'm going to show you guys how quick and simple you could do this on your own in about 10 minutes flat. So let's get set up. Let's go over to the car, and we're going to get this started for you right now. All right, so for all you Mustang owners that have these doors, the first step you're going to want to do is pull your handle back, and there's a little notch up top that you just put the pick in, and you see that there? You're just going to release that little tab right there. So there's a 10mm bolt there. There's also a 10mm bolt right down here as well. That's the tricky one that you got to get. Now, another thing I want to tell you, this particular panel here for the window switch, the clips are very, very hard to get out. So now, I'm in direct sun right now. You guys probably noticed it on camera. So this plastic is warm. I tend to recommend doing that on a warm day, or use the heat gun on a setting of 2 or 3. You want to warm up the plastic a little bit, make it more pliable, so when you go in there, you don't cause any issues. So we're going to be using this trim tool here, and we're going to do is we're going to go under, and you're going to pry up carefully. Now, you do not want to use a screwdriver, because what the screwdriver is going to do, you're going to actually put an imprint as you push the screwdriver deeper in, and it's going to look terrible, and it may or may not drive you nuts. But if you want to do it right, you just got to have the right tools. We're just going to go in there, we're going to feel for the clips. Okay, there's one right there. And then we're going to go back over here. Right there, you can hear it release. There it goes. Go back over here. Okay, so we pretty much got all the clips released like I showed you. We're going to safely pull this out, okay? And we're going to disconnect the power window switch. Now, if you're going to do some Dynamat on your car, I recommend to just pop this switch out. There's little tabs here, and keep the switch connected, and you can roll the window up and down, and it will enable you to cut full pieces of Dynamat to line the inside of the door. So this keep this to the side. Now we're going to go back up to the top. We're going to start taking off. There's a 10mm bolt in here. Now the reason I recommend a magnetic nut driver like this is because this bolt has a tendency to always fall down. So let me just move the camera and I'll show you. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to take off. This is the main one for the door pull. And these are my fellow M-Tech magnetic nut drivers. So check this out. So the way the material for the fabric is there, it's going to have a tendency to catch on the head of the bolt, and you can see it right there. It's perfectly secure. You don't have to lose it, and it also gives you the opportunity to put it back in without having to drop into this little recess and you're fishing it out with another screwdriver or needle nose pliers. So we're going to put this over here in my grip mat. We're going to move the camera up. We're going to do the top bolt. Okay, same situation. We're going to just unscrew this here. Perfectly removed. Put that over on my grip mat like I show you guys. I have my grip mat. See that there? Let me just move the camera and I'll show you guys. I have it right here on my floor, on the passenger side floor, so I keep all my hardware in there. So I got the 10mm bolts for the top and the middle of the door, safely secured, and then we got to get some 7mm bolts on the bottom. Let's go do that right now. Magnetic nut driver, these things are freaking awesome. Especially if you're working on cars, because you always have a tendency to drop and lose fasteners. And there we go. So there's the other bolt, so we're going to get the other one out. And if you guys wanted to compartmentalize this stuff, you could put 7mm here. You can put the 10mm from up top, the 10mm up from the bottom, and you just know where everything is. And the reason I actually like this, and I'm going to be showing a video on this soon, is because it's soft. So you could lay it anywhere on the interior of the car, on the console, on the dash, painted surfaces, whatever. It's not going to scratch like a magnetic, screw holder would be. You got to be careful with using magnetic tools if you really want to take care of your car, because that stuff could scratch really easily. And always find a location when you get all your hardware out, as far as where, and this is right where it is. You see how the flex? So this is where we're going to put the nylon wedge. We're just going to keep it in there because we don't want to scratch the paint. That's what you don't want to do. You don't want to butcher it. So you put the wedge in there, and it's going to keep the plastic pried out, and we're going to pull, and you're going to hear the pops. We're going to take that wedge, and we're going to go all the way down. Okay, we're fully released. There's another one up here, right there. Okay, so we're fully released. We didn't scratch anything. You could, if you wanted to, you could put tape, but do not use a screwdriver when you do this. You're going to actually damage it. And we're going to have to lift it here, and we're going to raise the door panel off. Now, what you got to do, you have to undo all these clips. If you don't undo all these clips, then you're going to run into an issue because you're not going to be able to get the door off safely. Now, here's what we got to show you guys. I'm going to take the door panel. Now I have a moving blanket on the floor. Let me just make sure I can show you guys this on the camera. Okay, so hopefully you guys could see this. So where the door pull is, there's a cable. The cable is captive onto the handle. Now you can pull that off if you're going to replace it, but what you want to do is, like I show you here, there's an 11mm. It's like I don't consider this a fully threaded nut. It's just captive on the plastic tang that's part of the door handle mechanism. So we're just going to loosen that up carefully. See, this is the piece of hardware that came off. Throw that in the grip mat, and now we could release the tabs. There's two tabs here, one on the top and one on the bottom. You're going to squeeze them with your finger, and you're going to pull the door mechanism out like this. Because what you don't want to do, you see how this is captive in here? And this could be very difficult to remove on some cars, and then if you break this, then you got to buy a whole new cable mechanism. So you want to remove this and leave it like this. So very simple. Now the door panel is fully released. You guys can see that there. Now we're going to set this aside in the garage so nothing happens to it. Okay, so I'm back on the interior of the car, and like I said, you want to just unplug the old speaker. And like I said, this is the one that's causing buzzing. So what you're going to want to do, what I did when I tested it, I disabled and unplugged the lower speaker, and I also unplugged the tweeter. I set the balance all the way to the passenger side. I played certain songs that I knew were going to cause that resonance, and as soon as I heard this thing buzzing, I knew that this was the speaker to replace. So same situation here. We have 7mm These are like self-tapping screws. We're going to put that into the grip mat. We don't want to lose those. Pop that out. And like I said, you can't really repair this speaker. There are companies that do repair speaker drivers for high-end home speakers, but definitely not for the car, stuff like this. So you can see it here. This is just a really cheapy little speaker. So we're just going to throw that out. We're going to get the new one. And there's alignment pins right here. There's one there. And that's going to line up right there on the door. So it's going to pop in just like I show you. Having the magnetic nut driver is definitely the way to go. I mean, you can use a socket if that's all you have, but this just makes it go a lot easier. And that's it, we're pretty much done. So, and as far as assembly, you're just going to do everything that I showed you in reverse carefully. You don't want to over tighten this because the frame and the basket of these speakers is made out of a fiber reinforced plastic, so if you over torque it, you're going to cause an issue. So you just want to snug it up. First step, you're going to want to take this for the door handle grab, and you're going to want to pull it through the door panel and make sure you're secured carefully. There we go. So that's that. Put the 11mm nut back on the plastic tang. And like I said, you're just going to want to get it on there. You don't want to kill it. It's just there to keep this secure. This top panel is screwed in and held with that 10mm bolt up top, so you just want to get it in there loosely. Okay, that's all plugged in. Now we got to plug in this guy up here. Now the last plug is going to be for the window switch, so you just grab that there and just have it hanging. Now also, if you guys can see, there's a little tab right here. You got to be careful with this. This locks onto this. If you do something wrong or you push too hard, you're going to actually snap this off your door panel. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. So you put it at an angle, and the door panel is going to sit into the recess of the weather stripping. That's it. Panels are snapped in. We're going to be putting the 10mm bolt up top for the door handle. And like I said, when you do this, don't worry if you get grease and stuff on the door panel. It's going to happen because there's just grease in there for the window mechanism. Now we're just going to take the little trim bezel, pop it in there. That's done. Now this is the one that if you're using a regular 1/4" drive socket, you're going to lose the bolt. But you have this tool, you're going to go in there super, super nice. And I'll put links if you guys want to buy these same tools from the manufacturer. There's a distributor in the United States that sells all these cool German tools, and I'll put a link in the video description. Oh, a little caterpillar grasshopper jumped on my door. Okay, I'll torque that down. Okay, now here's the last wire to connect. We're just going to pop that in just like this. Okay, and then you're going to carefully remember where these clips are. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 clips, so you don't want to force this, and you don't want to damage this. So go nice and easy. And I'll actually have a video because I'm thinking about doing these in carbon fiber with some more carbon fiber pieces, and hopefully this will help you on how to get rid of it. So there's no damage to the seam going all the way across here because I used the proper tool, did not use a screwdriver. And even if you wanted to use the nylon wedge, this is still too wide. You don't want to actually force it because you're going to damage the plastic. You got to go with something very thin and very rigid to go in there and feel where the clips are and pull it up. So now we just got to get the 7mm bolts on the bottom, and we're 100% painless. It's a 10-minute install. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and got some tips on how to remove the door panel safely, the tools used, why I used them. Also, you got to remove this section of the door panel. If you try to remove the cable, you're going to get into some big trouble breaking that mechanism. So if you guys have any kind of buzzing of these speakers, buy replacements online, buy them at your local Ford dealer. Do the removal of the door panel yourself. Also, always put something soft on the ground so when the door panel does come down, you don't scratch it. And pretty much that's it. And also, the grip mat, pretty cool thing to keep your hardware. And these tools are absolutely incredible. I love these. From Germany, the magnetic nut drivers, and you just can't go wrong. So I'll put links to some of this stuff in the description of this video. If you guys want to, pick up some tools for your garage and you want to do this stuff safely, I highly recommend doing it yourself. Don't deal with the dealership. It's just going to be nothing but stress trying to get this under warranty. And the parts are so cheap because it's a Ford that I recommend you guys and my audience to do it yourself. So thanks again for watching this video. Please subscribe to the Auto Fanatic YouTube channel and set your notifications. There's much more automotive content coming on the channel every week. And thanks for the support. And also feel free to head over to the Auto Fanatic web shop and Auto Fanatic website today and support Auto Fanatic as a brand. And I will see you guys on the next video real soon, and have a good one.